everybody, Doug Shoemaker here with the Shoemaker Loan Team at USA Mortgage. So Sam and I were sitting talking today about the loan process and different things that go on throughout the process and how we can make things better for people. And Sam had a question for me that I thought you guys might want to hear.
Yeah, so I hear, all the time, there's all this stuff going on as you guys try to get all these people loans. And it seems to be going pretty well, but sometimes you're in the middle and something seems to come up and it's like we're scrambling trying to get stuff fixed. And so I'm just curious, what are some of those things that can interrupt the loan process in the middle? It's going really well and then all of a sudden, 180 turn. What are some of those things?
That is an awesome question. So ironically, guys, it's pretty much the same things that will cause problems most of the time. And I would say one of the top things that people will do throughout the process that can really cause problems is for them to go out and buy things on credit. And what I mean by that is we start the application process. They go out and they find the home of their dreams and they write a contract, make an offer, it gets accepted, and they're all excited. And a week or so later, after we've sent them an email saying don't do these things, you have 1,000 things going on. This is a time in your life where you're excited, you're nervous, you're all these different things. And even though we might talk about these, it doesn't stick for some reason. The biggest one is you're driving down the road and you see that the local furniture store has same as cash till 2094. And they've got this furniture that you just have to have. And even though it's like zero payment for 30 years or something crazy that they're doing, the problem is that whenever we see that there's an inquiry on your credit, we have to ask you, did you open any new credit? And if the answer is yes, and even though you don't have a payment on it yet, we still have to calculate a payment and count it against you. And so if you're, halfway through the process when we find this, if your debt to income ratio was already a little bit on the high side, even though you don't have a payment yet, if we have to count a payment against you, it could raise your debt to income ratio higher than what's acceptable by the investors. So that could totally take you from approval to a denial, just like that. So the best advice there is, if you're thinking about buying anything that's going to go on credit, or honestly, even paying cash, because when we qualify you based off of your credit score, your debt to income ratio, what your assets are, meaning how much money you have in your account. So if we started the application and you had $5,000 in your account, but you went and spent $3,000 on furniture, now you only have $2,000, and that might not be enough to qualify. So always talk to your loan officer and make sure they understand what it is you're doing, and make sure you're working with somebody that's going to be honest with you, because not that somebody would be intentionally dishonest, but sometimes they're just scared to tell you the truth. So make sure you're working with somebody that comes highly recommended. Make sure that it's somebody that will coach you through the process and help you through the process, but most importantly, be honest about whether or not something will or won't hurt you. Hey, so one of the next things that comes up quite often is somebody that changes their job in the loan process. So while you're applying for your loan and working on your pre-qualification or pre-approval, there is a difference. Make sure you check out our video on that. You always want to let your loan officer know if you have any plans whatsoever to change your job. And a lot of people think that only matters if you're changing a job and going to make less money or something like that, but it matters in general, because most of the time we have to do a verification of employment. We've got to verify that you've been on that job a certain amount of time. Now, different loan programs, they require different things. With some loans, all we have to do is verify that you work there. With other loans, we have to verify that you work there, and we actually have to be able to get a verification of employment showing how much you make. And with others, we even have to have your first paycheck stub showing what your deductions are and all that good stuff. So even if you're going to make more money than what you did before, it's a promotion, we still need to know about it. You need to make sure you talk to your loan officer before you do it. Don't change jobs without having that conversation. So another thing that we've seen along those lines are someone will think that, well, I'm not starting my new job until after closing, so I really don't need to tell anybody. That's also not necessarily true, because when we do the verification of employment, our team's going to reach out to your current employer, and in some cases we have to have a written verification. One of the questions they ask on there is, what is the likelihood of continuance of employment? And if you've already put in your notice, they're not going to answer that it's very good.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that, if you're going to change jobs, we need to know about it. I would just say don't plan on changing jobs throughout the process. If you absolutely have to, again, don't be afraid to have that conversation, because the facts will be the facts. And, worst case scenario, if a loan has to be delayed, if a closing has to be delayed, we need to figure that out sooner rather than later so everybody can make plans. Because keep in mind, the house that you're buying, well, they're probably buying a house too, and the person that's selling in that house is probably buying a house too, and there's always a chain reaction or a domino effect. So I always say, if there's going to be an issue, let's find out as fast as possible so we can start working together with you and your real estate agent to come up with a solution. Probably one of the last things that will make a difference in your loan, or that can cause problems in your loan, is a large, or what they call out of the ordinary, non-payroll deposit. I know that was a mouthful, guys. If you get a bonus from your job each year, probably not going to be an issue, because we can document that through your employer. But if you have like a side job and we can't verify where that money's coming from, you sell stuff and you get paid cash for it, generally it's not going to stop your loan, but it causes a lot more paperwork. And when we have a whole lot of work to do in a very short time frame to do it, finding out halfway through the loan that there's a $4,500 deposit, that could be a problem, because we have to document that. Now keep in mind, not that you would ever do anything bad, but remember, most of the goofy rules that we have, it's because somebody somewhere either did or is trying to do something stupid.
Always.
I know you would never do that, because you're probably a wonderful human being. But how do we know that the seller of this home didn't give you the $4,000 for your down payment? Because that's not allowed. How would we know? If there's a cash deposit and we can't document or track where it came from, how would we know? So another thing is, a lot of people don't realize it, but the U.S. mortgage industry, it's one of the top places that money gets laundered. You believe that? Yeah, money gets laundered through the mortgage industry. Who knew? But because these people are doing these bad things, it's kind of our responsibility to try to make sure that that doesn't happen. So that's one of the reasons that documentation of where the money that's sitting in your account, where did it come from, that's why it's so important. So to kind of recap, literally the top 3 things that cause problems through the loan process are buying things on credit. Just wait till after close, because the last thing you want is for that couch that you just had to have to stop you from buying the home that you really, really wanted, but now you got a great couch for your apartment. Yeah. So buying things on credit, changing jobs, I know it's great, I know you got a good raise, all this good stuff, but let's just plan for it. If there's no way you can avoid it, let's plan for it. And let's let the seller know what's going on. I mean, maybe we need to just delay the loan process for a week or two, but let's talk about it early on and make sure it doesn't cause a problem in your loan. And then the last one would be, again, making large or out of the ordinary deposits on your loan that aren't terribly necessary. I mean, if somebody's paying you cash for something, keep that cash under your mattress or live off that cash for the next few weeks. Rather than using your paycheck to pay for things, use your cash. But these are things that would be really great if you'd give us a call. We would be glad to coach you through this so we can make your loan process as smooth as possible. And hey, like I said earlier, if you check out our video on pre-qualifications versus pre-approvals, one of the number 1 reasons it's so important to do a full pre-approval is so we can get through questions like this, and any little glitches or issues that there might be in your process, we'd love to get them worked out before you even make an offer or have an accepted offer on your home. So that's one of the things that we're well known for, is trying to make the process as smooth as possible. Well, so hey, if you're looking to get pre-qualified or pre-approved with somebody who's going to take the time to go through this process with you and try to make it as smooth as possible, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach my team, including most nights and weekends, at 618-795-0790, or you can go to our website and get all kinds of good resources at applywithdougshue.com. And Sam is going to put up there, over there, there, or
down there.
Down there.
Down in the description.
She'll put the links down there for you so you can find us easily. Hope you have a great week, and let us know if we can help with anything.